I just was watching my usual lineup of fucking eyebrows are crazy. Anyways, secular talk and Young Turks and stuff like that. And Kyle was talking about Candice Owens being against the freedom of the press. And it was funny because she was like, people shouldn't be able to lie about other people, and there's so much fake news out there. Candice Owen is a spewer of fake news. She is the right-wing token black girl. Just to be honest. And she's deluded. And so I guess she's suing someone because they criticized her in the press. Well, you're a public figure. And yeah, that happens. The whole point of the freedom of the press is to expose liars, to expose hoaxes, to expose fake news. That's the whole point. Freedom of the press is important because, alright, well, Donald Trump was a fucking idiot. Plain and simple. And we've had other politicians who are idiots. I mean, well, they shouldn't lie. Well, here's the thing. You on the right, let's talk about Louis Gohmert. Okay, something about his asparagus. Remember that? And some of the other dumb shit he said. I mean, this guy's, I don't know how he's an elected official. I don't know. There must be some really dumb motherfuckers to elect that dumb motherfucker. I mean, he's said some of the dumbest fucking shit. The dumbest shit I've ever heard a politician say. I mean, Ted Cruz has said some dumb stuff, but it wasn't necessarily lacking intelligence. There's a little bit there, but Louis Gohmert lacks any and all brain cells, apparently, with some of the things he says. I mean, he embarrasses himself in front of his colleagues and everything. And anyways, if the press came out and criticized Gohmert for his lack of intelligence, which, as a public official, yeah, it's warranted. You're supposed to be smart. We're supposed to elect the smart people to run our country, not the stupid ones. Go ahead and tell a Republican that. But anyways, that's like her suing the press for pointing out his stupidity, but not suing the press that lies and says Louis Gohmert's the smartest politician we have. And so, who's gonna lie? How, if you take away the freedom of press, okay, how are you going to expose the government's wrongdoings? That's the whole point of a free press. To hold the government and those in power accountable for their actions against the people. And she said, well, Donald Trump peeing on a bunch of girls. No, I don't think that's what the video was. I think it's the other way around. I think the video is of them peeing on him. You know, like a golden shower event. Some people like that stuff. You know, to each their own on that. But, I mean, the whole thing that they put in there is irrelevant. It's funny, okay? It's not really worth anything. It's not going to change anything. So what? The guy likes to get peed on. Who cares? That's not necessarily a character judgment. You know? A bunch of consenting girls go and squat in his face and pee on him. Well, that's his prerogative. That's their prerogative for doing it. I mean, come on. What? Talk about a way to get your kicks in on an idiot. You know, guy likes golden showers. Well, you don't like him, so he's gonna pay you to strip naked, squat down on his face, and pee on it. Really? Come on, girls. Easy way to say fuck you and get paid. Although there might be extras that might be involved in that, and that's up to you. But make sure you know what's expected completely before you do something like that. But still, to each their own. I don't care. Anyways, she got that completely backwards. Someone could sue her for lying, saying that he peed on them, and they'd be like, no, I don't think so. No. We peed on him. You had it the other way around. Well, that's just degrading. You can't do that. I don't like that. That's the problem with right-wingers. That's a problem with these conservatives nowadays. They boast about freedom. They want freedom until that very same freedom causes them criticism. Until they're criticized, until they're called out for their bullshit. And they have a lot of bullshit. I'm not saying the left don't have no bullshit. They got bullshit too. I think everybody's bullshit should be called out, especially if you're a political figure. But apparently the right wing doesn't want people to be able to express themselves and say what's real, what's true. And here's the thing. It's the free market of ideas. That's the whole point. Okay? If you don't like what's being said and you don't think it's true, well then prove them wrong. Debunk them. If your debunking can't hold up, if your scrutiny actually doesn't affect them, and maybe your scrutiny gets scrutinized, and your scrutiny can't hold up to its scrutiny, well, then your argument fails. That's the whole point of the free market of ideas. It's like science. Everybody's like, I don't trust science because it's always changing. Yeah, it's changing because it corrects itself. When science gets something wrong, or there's new information and a theory changes, they change it. They update the information as new information comes in. The theory, the thought, the explanation of a phenomenon. When new information comes in that changes what we thought to something different, we go and we change that in science. Okay, same thing with the free market ideas. Okay, we have these debates. Right wingers say that Joe Biden's a fucking communist. I can debunk that. He's not a communist. He's an establishment Democrat, a corporatist. Okay, a communist would not take donor money. That's not what communism is about. Or even socialism. These people, the problem is that we let the right wing get away and say anything they fucking want. The general people and those in power as well. And I'm sorry, but they need debunked regularly and viciously, harshly. Go in there, tell them that they're fucking wrong, and here's why. And if they continue to do shit like that, like we've seen for so long, even after they've been debunked, after they proved themselves wrong in many cases, you know that they're just grifting. That they're trying to push a narrative to get you to not vote for their opponent or something like that. They're straw manning people. They're ad hominem personal attacks on people. For what reason? To win elections, to get voters, to dupe people into thinking that all these people are weird. It's like the whole fucking Hillary Clinton and the child-eating, sex trafficking pizza shop thing. It's not true. It's not real in any fucking way. Yet they still go blah 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 about it all over the media or the press. Well, I'm sorry. Maybe we should sue you since you're suing. You know, and that's the other thing. They can sue anybody they want. Are you going to win? I can sue someone for being black. Literally, I can go and I can file a suit against someone because they're black. Now, it's not going to happen. Why? Because the court's going to say that's racist and you're a racist piece of shit and fuck off. We're not even going to touch this. Dismissed completely. And then they'll probably put it up on the press and it'll make me look really bad because I attempted to sue somebody for the color of their skin. And rightfully so, you know? You can sue someone for anything. But that's part of the freedoms that we have here in America. Freedom to say what you want. There are few exceptions. Threats of violence. Can't yell fire. You know, anything that's going to cause an extremely dangerous situation, like yelling fire in a crowded theater. You know. Death threats, stuff like that. That's serious stuff. That's an assault on someone's life. Verbal assault at that point doesn't mean it actually happened, but you can't do that. That's a threat. You'll be investigated for that. It's assault. Sorry, this is what it is. But for the most part, I can say fuck Trump, fuck Biden, fuck Candice Owens, fuck them all. Fuck the entirety of the U.S. government. I can say that. But the right wing would say, no, we want to take that freedom of you to say that away because you're supposed to worship the government. You're supposed to worship Donald Trump. That's the way these people act. And that's not freedom. That's cultish behavior. Authoritarian, nationalistic, Nazi-like behavior. If you don't like what's being said, sure, you can sue all you want. Go right ahead. But why don't you debunk them? If you think they're lying, go on to the press and say, hey, I think they're lying. You got your own platforms, put it on there. Yeah, and they can come back and say, you call us lying, Here's your lie about us lying. And you can go back and forth all you want. Good news, right? Entertainment for everybody. That's the problem. The right wings love and boast freedom for themselves, but not for everybody else. They're very selfish people, as far as I can tell. They don't think about other people. And if they don't get things their way, they try to ruin the system and take away other people's rights just so they can get their way. I mean, come on. They were literally... There's some talking about information that one of Trump's lackeys has refused to turn in. And there was apparently a draft of a plan for Donald Trump to steal, hijack, withhold, confiscate, whatever you want to call it, votes for Biden so that Trump can win the election. That's what do they call that? Premeditation? Yeah. That don't look good. That's the kind of shit. You know, when you start seeing that shit and it starts coming out, you're supposed to report on it. You know, that's what the press does. And that's a good thing. We want the corruption to be out in the open so that we can have informed decisions on who we vote for. That's what that's supposed to be for. So hopefully, you know, that keeps happening. But yeah, system's broken in many ways. Which way do I want to go? She parked her car in a weird spot. So yeah, let's try to be a little more patriotic, shall we? I don't know. There are consequences to freedoms. Those consequences are worth it. That's something that the right wing just doesn't seem to understand, because they don't like it when they're called out on their bullshit, but they need to be called out on their bullshit. That's important. So that's where I'm going to leave it at. You all have a good evening. And those freedoms, those pesky freedoms, well, they're there for a reason. They're there to call people out on their bullshit, especially those people who have power. In the press, in the government, anywhere. And nobody should ever give up those freedoms. Matter of fact, if our government decides to try to take away those freedoms that are outlined in the First Amendment, well, that's when the Second Amendment comes in. Okay, people? Not because there's different political ideologies out there and people disagree with you politically. No. Not because they support a opposing view. No. It's when the government tries to take away your actual rights. That's when you go and you protest. But if the protests aren't working, then you go protest with guns. You try to legislate, then you protest. You try to legislate again. I mean, guns are the last resort. Violence is the last resort. But if the protests aren't working peacefully, well, then you do unpeaceful protests. especially when it's something as fundamental as our First Amendment rights. So, have a good one, and I feel like the world's just going to shit. What happened to America? The America I was raised in, the America that I was taught to revere, is not worth revering anymore. It's sad. Maybe we can get there again. That's what we need. But we need cooler heads to prevail in order for that to happen. Anyways, see you in the next one.